Okay. So since last time we discussed about the state management, and we covered a few topics, but there was some part that was still left. So we got a response of we wanted to continue this topic. So yeah, here we are with the part two of the state management. And before we jump and start discussing about the second part or the topics that we want to cover, what I would want to do is to have just a quick walkthrough of like what we discussed in the last call, and what are the topics that we went through, and because there would be some part of it that is still going to be used in this session. So we'll just do a quick overview of the last session. All right. So to start with, first thing that we discussed was in the React state management. The first we started with like how important the React tree data structure is to us, as in what all flexibility, and like we discussed it is a very fundamental fact, but we can leverage this simple point to get a lot many to simplify our code, as well as to you can say it gives us too many benefits with just a simple concept of like being a tree data structure. All right. So yeah, so that was the first thing that we went through. Uh, and yeah, I have made like since last time I have made this navigator so that we can jump around between different topics that we discussed. So after discussing this, we discussed about the state management, and in that what we covered was we started with this. Let's say how the use effect hook is used, as in what is the like primary way of using the use effect. We started with this, and at the end of this particular topic, we ended with this code refactor, where we extracted the name state out into a separate component, which was like the topic that we were calling it as like a co-location, and like why it is important and how much benefit that it was giving. Doing a co-location, it makes our application fast as well. So that was a use state that we discussed. Then we discussed about sorry. So then we discussed about the second thing, which was in the use state itself, we discussed about callbacks. The first thing is like having this, let's say if I was to use the counter somewhere, I was to get, if I wanted to get this value out from somewhere else, or what will happen when the race condition happens in this set state. And we ended up into this final, the refactored version, where we said like we'll be passing the callback for initializing the value whenever there is a heavy computation required, or there is some async operation or something like that. In that case, we would probably want to give a callback to the user state. The other callback that we discussed was in the setter itself, where we are taking the previous value or maybe the current value and then updating the value, right? So this is what we discussed in the callbacks. The next thing that we discussed was the state lifting, which is let's say I wanted to use uh, if I wanted to use a value in some, you can say a parent level or some sibling level, which I did not had access to, then how to move state up, and when to decide to move, and when how to co-locate it again. So that is what we discussed, and we arrived at this final refactor, where we extracted the counter component and had the state over here, and moved the handle on click. So this is the final state that we ended upon. Okay. Uh, so yeah, this is primarily that we discussed. We like had just a brief, you can say a walkthrough of like how the context is there, and like what is the base implementation, or what is the most generic implementation that we see usually see around for context, right? So we'll do again walk through this, because like this is the topic that we are going to deep dive in, and we'll see about like what are the optimizations that we can do, and possibly how we can write it in much more efficient way. So yeah, that's the agenda for this particular talk. So yeah, let's get started. And in this, we first will just have a walkthrough. So we discussed like, let's say if I wanted to share my state across multiple component, and let's say if my any child component that I was using was not having a direct relation with the parent. So in those cases, we usually reach out for context, right? And how the context is divided is, so there are two parts to it. One thing is a consumer, the other one is a provider. And let's say if I want to, so yeah, this is what we discussed, like how we create a context and how we create a provider out of it. So here, whatever provider, we just have a component of, whenever we create a context, we get the dot provider will give us a provider on that context. And in that, whatever value we pass is accessible to all the children's under wrapped under this provider, right? So that is a very simplistic use case of the context. And in here, we can, like, if I want to consume the value of the context, I'll simply be using a use context hook. And on that, I'll be giving whatever context I want to use and extract out whatever values that are provided by the provider. Right? So this is how the context API is designed to give us provider and consumer, right? But yeah, so going first, like, let's see like what are the problems, or maybe what are small tweaks in terms of optimization, or in terms of best practices that we can use. So first, let's see like what is the problem with this particular one. Okay, so here the first thing that I want to like focus onto is in this provider, right? Here, if you see, there we are providing value as an object. So this is an object which is providing us a counter and a set counter. Now the problem with this one is, let's say whenever the provider re-renders, we'll always be getting a new object, which will be a counter and a set counter, right? So this object will always get initialized. So irrespective, even if my counter is changing or not, I'll always be getting a new object out. And if, let's say if that is the case, that means my provider is always going to provide me a new value, right? So that's one, you can say, a drawback of this particular design. And I hope you, I'm not sure, like, do you believe this point or not? So what I'll do is a small change in, so what I'll do is I'll try and quickly show how, like, how does, like, can we like very surely say, like, is it providing a new object every time? So we'll see, like, is it really the case, right? So if you don't believe me, let's try that out. What I'll do is I'll try and change in here. So what we are doing here is we are giving a value here. Let's see. So what I'll do is I'll use a ref, which is kind of another hook on which we can say like it remains same between different between multiple renders. So we'll use this ref and see like if the reference on this particular value that we are getting always is it the same value that we are getting in the last render. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll say value ref dot current, and please feel free to ask any question if you are not getting any point, and if I'm like rushing through, or like feel free to ask whatever doubts you get in mind. And this is just an demo part to show like are we really getting the same value, or are we getting a new state every time. So that is what this particular you can say change refactor is trying to do. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll simply say like the value got updated, value updated. All right, and what I'll do is at the end we'll set the value reference dot current to the whatever the current value is, so that the next time we get we check with this particular value. We'll just add an import of use ref. All right, so yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's see if it is okay. Here what we'll have to do is we'll do value dot reset and value dot counter. All right, yeah, and let me open the console. So first time when we entered, we got a new reference of value, and that time we got a value updated printed, and this is currently holding our whatever value we got in the first render. All right. So let's say if I increment a count, okay, I'm getting the value updated because of course my counter is incremented. But let's say, let's first replicate a scenario where we are updating our counter also. Okay, so that we'll see if the counter, when the counter is re-rendering, are we getting a new object or not? So let's try and reproduce that scenario. For that, what I'll do is I'll create another state in here. Uh, I don't know, we can have multiple ways of doing a re-render, but I'll just use this one. So as to, so we'll know like whatever changes we are doing and how many re-renders are happening. In that way only we'll track how many times the object was, the value was updated. All right, so I use a value in here. All right, and we'll say on change, and we'll do this, and here we'll do a set name with dot target dot value. Okay, so if you recall it, this wouldn't be like almost, this might lead into the race condition to state update. So we can either go with an empty this thing or maybe a previous value, because we don't want to use it further. We can go with this syntax. So yeah, this will not lead us to into any of the race condition. All right. Now I'll import the use state also. All right. So let's see now what happens here. Okay, so this was the first time render and it displayed value update. I clear the console. When I'm clicking the update, the counter update happens and value updated is printing, which is fine. But let's say if I enter some value in here, you see value updated is also happening, although we are not actually updating any counter value. So that does mean that our object is again getting created, and we are always getting a new object or new object in the context. So here, let's say in our case here in the increment, we are getting a new counter every time, new value from the counter context every time there is a re-render on the provider itself. All right. So what we can do, we can try and optimize this. We can possibly try and resolve this and not get a new object every time. First, let's see. So we'll do it in two parts. So first part, what we'll do is we'll probably, so this is almost equivalent to saying like from an method we are getting a new value. So here I can have a method defined and call that method every time, right? So this is identical to what we were doing. It's just a simple callback we are giving and calling that callback, right? So it is all, it is not going to have any impact here. Oh, okay. So yeah, I should be wrapping this one here. And then this one. All right. All right. So, all right. So I did not refresh it, right? So it will be having the same whatever we had earlier. It's just that we now have a function doing this for us. Now what we'll do is we can extract this method out and say we are going to add a value, right? So let's say a const value is equals to this, which is essentially extracting this part of generating an object which was giving us the counter and set counter, right? Again, yeah, this is no difference. Like this doesn't differ from our earlier implementation. But now let's do the optimization part. So what we can do to optimize this object creation is like what we want to achieve here is that every time this counter provider is getting rendered, we do not want this object to create again and again. So here we can use another hook, which is a use memo hook. Now, what does this hook does is uh, it doesn't it checks for whatever values with which this particular callback was called with is same, then it will not rerun this callback. Okay, so and this what values will it look out for are mentioned in here. This is the dependency array for this use memo, and here we can mention like look out for counter, and anytime the counter changes, give me a new, like execute this method and give me a new object out. So what we'll have to do is import use memo, right? So let's see now. All right, so this re-rendered happened for the first time. We got a new value updated, but now I'm incrementing the count. This is of course going to trigger a value update because we are updating the counter itself. But let's say if I enter something here, now you see the value update is not happening again. So that is the first optimization that we can possibly do. So here we are doing use memo, which is like caching for this particular, like caching our response of this callback with this particular as a dependency. So as in, whenever this counter changes, it will again do the call to this callback and give us a new object at the end, right? So that was the first optimization that we can possibly do on the counter, on the provider, to make this object, to avoid this object creation on every re-render, right? So yeah, now the simplified version at the end would be looking, okay, I'll continue on this. So this was the first approach, but here, if you see, this is actually not the solution to the problem. Here, what we did is we found a hacky way around to just minimize our re-render, like on re-render our object creation. But ideally, what we should be having is this provider should not be giving an object every time. That is what the problem is, right? So to optimize that, this is just one way we could do it, where we are just using a use memo. And but let's say, why to even get a new hook to just like get rid of this particular situation, right? So let's look at other approach of solving this. How about if we were just to give just one value around here rather than giving an object? So let's say, what if I was just giving a value, but then I wanted to give the set value, set counter as well, right? So I would need another context for the counter update. So what let's call this one as const counter update context, or maybe update counter context. And here we'll do a create context again, and I'll just give it a value of 0 for the time being. All right. And here, what I can possibly do is I'll again create a provider, but this particular provider would only be giving me one value, which is my set counter. All right. And yeah, so now we do not need this value to be there. We just can use the context from directly, like whichever particular thing we want out from here, so that now this particular provider will only be giving us counter. That way it is not giving an object. So any re-render happens, that time also we are going to get the same object. It is like not going to give us a new object on every re-render of our provider. So I'll just remove the use memo. Now it's not anymore used. And here just, yeah, so in case of our implementation, we'll have to again update our implementation, because earlier what we are doing is we are getting a set value and counter both from our counter context. But now here we'll have two contexts. One is a counter context, the other one is the update counter context. And this one was giving us a counter, and this one would be giving us a set counter, right? And I can just get rid of this value and call directly counter. All right, and yeah, let's see. I'll just do the same thing for here. And in case where only a single thing was used, where like we are just using a counter, rather than doing an object destructuring, we can directly get a counter out from here. Let's see if our example still works or not. All right, let me increment. Yeah, that works. Cool. And I'll just remove the name. We don't need that anymore. Cool. Yeah, let's see. So this is working fine. So the change we did, we extracted, or we can say we splitted the values on the provider into two. One is just providing us the counter value, the other one providing us the set counter value, which is like the update counter context. Okay, and whichever context we are using, like whichever value we want, we can plug into a different context and get that value, right? So yeah, this simplifies the problem. Here, our single context is just giving us a single value. That way we solve this problem, right? And now let's say if we are having this whole logic of getting a counter, use counter, and then set counter, how about we extract this whole thing out into a custom hook, so that it simplifies our developer experience, right? So that's what the custom hooks are for. So let's say maybe I'll just create a use counter, and I'll just do a simple move of this whole thing in here, and at the end just return counter and set counter. And now we can use our use counter in a in a very similar manner as how we use state hook. That we'll be getting two things out from here: the counter and the set counter. Right. Now, if you see, yeah, the example works fine. I'll just do the same thing over in the decrement as well. We don't need these two things. We can just abstract the logic out and simplify our code, right? So we have extracted this whole counter set counter into two different, I mean, like into a different custom hook, and we can just simply call the hook to get the counter set counter, similar to how we get the state, and we can use that, right? And here also, now since we are using only the counter, what we can do is I'll just say use counter and give only a single thing counter. Let's see if that works. All right. Yeah. Cool. So far so good, right? Then let's see what other problems do we have with this particular approach. Even with this extracted out simplified, still we do have some problems which we can address. Let's say, what if here we see like our counter provider is wrapping our increment, counter, and decrement. But what if I move the counter out, right? And let's see. So here I move the counter out. Okay. Now my counter is not directly a child of the counter provider, and still it is rendering 0, which is working fine, right? Let's see, is it working fine or not? So if I click, now the update doesn't happen. Can anybody point out like how come it is just reflecting a 0? It is working fine as in for the initial state, but not listening to the any update that are happening. Any volunteers?
The counter is not getting rendered, that component.
Counter is getting rendered. There is this use counter. We are getting counter.
It's not getting refreshed.
Yeah. So yeah, why is that? Why is it not getting refreshed, and why? And from where does it get the initial 0 value then? Okay. Let's see. So here, what we'll do is, let's see how we are getting this 0 value. Let's say maybe if I update my initial counter context value. It is reflecting 1. Now it is not updating. So now we know like at least the initial value is coming from when we did a create context. Okay. But how is it not listening to the update and is still working fine? Like it should be at least telling me like, okay, dude, you're using the counter like somewhere which I do not listen to, where I should be always be wrapped inside this one, but I'm not currently wrapped and still I'm okay rendering fine. How will I detect that problem? Right. So let's see how we can possibly solve this. So I'll keep the counter in here for the time being. And what I would want is from this, that my counter whenever is outside or anything, like even my increment or decrement, anything that wherever I'm using my counter, if it is outside my counter provider, then I would want at least my this at least my implementation to tell me like, okay, dude, you're doing something wrong. It should not be outside, or maybe you should like when will I detect this particular bug would be only when I'm actually running the flow or testing. It should be at least at the compile time itself telling me this is something that you're writing wrong. Okay. So let's see how we can achieve this one. So what we'll do is we saw that we are getting the initial value from here. For the time being, I'll just give it no initial value. By default, it'll be undefined maybe. So let's see, does that do any change? Oh, fine. We are not getting a value anymore. At least now we know like if we are not getting the initial state that we are mentioning here, which is 0, if I'm not getting initial state, it is not actually my counter, as in like I'm not using it properly. But here another problem is, again, I have to run my app to see like, okay, fine, it is not reflecting the update and it is coming undefined, right? How about it tells me at like just the compilation, okay, like this is something going wrong. So what we can possibly do is, now since we did an undefined over here, what we can do is in our this extracted hook, which is a custom hook, for the time being, I'll just put it here because this makes more sense being with the where the context lies. So let me import use context here. Okay, and let me use formatting so that we don't get unused. And I'll just do the import. All right. So yeah, so now again back to the problem. We are getting this counter is undefined, but we want an prompt of saying like, okay, you're using the counter somewhere wrong, as in this is not wrapped inside our provider, right? And this is a problem. This should be told upfront. What we can do is now, since our initial values are undefined, I can possibly come in here and do a simple check of if my counter is equal to undefined, then do a new error, which will simply be saying, let's say, yeah, use counter must be inside counter provider. Okay, let's see. And I would do the same thing for the set counter. For now, I'll just copy paste this. We can have optimization a bit later. So I'll just do the same thing for the set counter. All right. So now let's say if I come here, now it is telling counter where I'm using the use counter that should be inside a counter provider. Fair. So, and let's see if it is working fine or is it just some random error that we are getting. All right, now it works. And let me clear this up. And then I update, now it is updating fine. All right. Any questions, any queries so far? All right. Yeah. So this is how we can possibly write a context which has some modification. Of course, we can get rid of this. You can say this tilde line, which is saying like there is something wrong, which is unexpected value. We can possibly get rid of this by if we are in a TypeScript, we would simply be saying like either it is going to be here a function or undefined. Or let's say in case of above, I would rather give a better prompt here. Here it would be a number or undefined. So that way we'll get rid of this particular error here. I'll say undefined here. So here now it is saying, so yeah, this is not working, as in like we are not in Flow or TypeScript. We can get rid of this particular warning. Okay, but yeah, this is one simplification that we can do. The benefits are, first we extracted these two, like we splitted these two into separate providers, and that what that did is we were not getting a new object every render on every render, and then we created a custom hook on, and on that we are just doing a like inside this particular we are doing an error prompt whenever we are using the hook outside of our provider. So yeah, that is what I had for the use for the context. Yeah, I'll probably go in deeper if you want me to. We can how we can use a reducer over here, and then how we can, like, why do we want to extract this out, so that we can get custom implementation, or we can get much more wrapping, data massaging, everything that we can do inside this hook, so that our application code, or you can say where we are using this particular remains clean. Okay. So yeah, that is what I had for the context. Any questions, any feedbacks on this?
Thank you, Sohel. The session is really helpful. Folks, if you have any question or query, please raise it. Meanwhile, I am launching a quick feedback poll. Please do share your feedback.
Just one question. Like this was one example on a counter. If you have to extend this into a larger component, how do we make sure everything is passed or set over there in that context? We like what need everything need to be duplicated, or is there a way we can optimize some of the code? Let's say I'll take an example, like let's take an address component or something like that, where you have a lot of fields to fill in over there. So then on each change you need to maybe refresh something. in those particular cases, how do we have the context and like a set name, set address, something like that?
Okay, so in that case, possibly not always the context would be the right option to go with. Maybe, like let's say if you are saying multiple objects are there with you, right? So here in our case of like context, we are having a simple one state of just a zero, right? I think if I'm getting your question right, you wanted a complex object over here, which was having, let's say, address, uh, street, and so forth. Is it right?
Yeah.
Right. So in that case, you can possibly use this context on an like broader picture. Context is for where your childrens are not maybe not directly related to the parent component. They are like some way very down the tree, or maybe they are totally outside the tree as well. Right. In that case, we would probably want to go with the counter. With the context. And here, this concept of using the state remains the same. As in my this particular example, I'll still simply be saying here. Let's say if at the end, let's say, oh, okay, I'll just create a dummy example over here. Okay, and we can say this is state, and here now this becomes to me an address, and here I'll be doing a set address, right? I'll still be going ahead and do. I'll still be passing in the single props over here, and here I'll be doing a set address. Now, rest of the operation on the set address remains the same. However, you want, you would do it in the regular component with the use state, and however you would be using the address, you would be still going on using the same way. Fair. And if you want to write custom logic on top, then probably this is the best place you will do that. So let's say if I wanted my set counter, rather than a set counter directly being exposed out, what I will do is I will write another, you can say, a wrapper over here, and say I will say update address, and that internally, and here I'll be taking all the things like street, city, and state. That's what we took up. And at the end, I'll be calling the use counter. Okay, I'm here again calling it use counter, but we will have a different name. And okay, I'll just be passing it here. But now here, what benefit that I get here is I can do checks of like my city should be something only, should be something between something and all. And rather than passing the set counter outside, I'll be passing the update address. So that way I'm extracting the, you can say, wrapping my context to be not used directly, as well as I can do much more in this way somebody is using this update address. Okay. And this is like a split logic as well, as in your provider would not be having like on the earlier implementation of giving the both the things value and the set value here, you would have to do all this massaging over here, right? Which is not the right place to do that. Does that answer your question, or
Yeah.
as I
Yeah.
did I get
No.
distracted?
No, I mean, you answered it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Any other question or any other feedback on this?